2024. This is I.C.A.C. Unpacked. I'm Norman Michaelation. I want to return to the lies of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. And in the time I have today, I want to focus on 5 particular lies that I.C.A.C. loves to tell. The first lie they like to tell the public is, we exist to rescue children. The problem is they spend all their time in places where you're not going to find too many, which really seems counterproductive, but hey, it's what they do. So if they had tons of children that they rescued on adult dating sites, wouldn't they be crowing about it? But we hear nothing about it. Instead, they try to conflate their statistics cleverly with adult prostitution, child prostitution, people who are out on the streets trying to make money because they're homeless or they're indigent in other ways, or with labor trafficking, or even white-collar crime, which is not what you would expect them to really be doing. So the second thing that they like to say is, we conduct proactive and reactive stings. And you ask them for the difference. Proactive, remember, are stings where they're just hanging out on the site, waiting for something to happen. Reactive ones is they get a tip from somebody who is approaching a young person and getting their social media account or a gaming platform and talking exclusively about sex. Now, they say that that happens, and they rarely show any evidence that it happens. So what they do is they simply say, well, this is grooming because they're talking to a young person, and yet that is suspicious because all grooming starts out with legitimate talk. How are you? We share shared interests, etc. And if you're on a gaming platform and you're 18, 19, 20, it's not unusual to find somebody 16, 17, 18 on that platform. It's the perfect opportunity for I.C.A.C. to create mischief. It's a perfect opportunity for them to come after people and set the stage to create a crime rather than wait, as they say, for a crime to actually happen. So the reactive stings are very, very, very infrequent. And they would occur oftentimes off the platform, not on a dating site that caters to adults. And why, of course, would you be looking for an adult, a child on a adult dating platform? Well, children may well be on there. They may well hang out on there. Children who are adolescent, we have now gotten to the point in life where we validate all their needs, and we want them to feel like all their needs are welcomed and understood, except where it comes to questions about their sexuality. Suddenly, then anybody who's trans or anybody who's gay, well, maybe they're not making the right choices. Maybe they don't know what they really want, etc., etc. And yet, every other aspect of their life, we say, leave them alone. So that's really very interesting. So they're supposedly looking for children. So do they put personae out there, any kind of thought into attracting children to them so they could then turn the tables and say, hey, I'm really a cop and we're concerned about what's going on in here, and have you seen anything? Has anybody gone after you? Nothing like that. They don't do anything like that. There's no evidence we've seen that at all. Instead, what they do is they approach an adult, pretend to be an adult, then do the old switcheroo and say, oh, by the way, I'm 15, and then wait and see what level of interest is there. And by the way, any level of interest that isn't immediately stopping the conversation is not on the police. It's not on the particular social media platform to protect its users. No, it's on the user who is confused, who is flabbergasted, who says, wait a minute, what are you doing here? Or simply engages in innocent conversation. That is all twisted around as grooming. And of course, it's easy to do because they use computer solicitation. They say you must be soliciting somebody because, hey, you're on a computer talking to somebody, they'll tell you. But of course, what they don't tell the public is they start out as an adult and then they switch it up. And that is something that is so incredibly dishonest, and it has to stop because they're creating problems where none need be. And then they're trotting this out to the public and saying, look at all these people that we captured trying to go after children. But we don't know that. And if they were on that site and supposedly going after children, then why didn't the police use a different tactic to contact the children? Instead, they hung out there and didn't wait for something to happen. They helped further the crime by creating not only the instance where that's going to happen, but they set the trap, they lured somebody in. When you say you're not interested, they keep pressing you. They come after you time and time again, and they're often the first one to bring up sex, contrary to what they say. So that fine line where police are supposed to be careful, they tippy-toe and dance right over onto the other side, and so far few courts have held them accountable for that. So what if there are children on those sites as they claim? Well, there is no age verification system that works, apparently. There are no calls from the cops to create a verification system of which I'm aware. So, maybe what's really happening here is that the people who are on there are not being abused in any way. Perhaps they're simply out there pretending to be an adult so that they can get adult attention. Maybe they're a 16-year-old pretending to be an 18 or 19-year-old. In which case, the police are either acting as adults toward them, where they inadvertently catch somebody as they're being, addressing various people, talking to them online, or they have children that they should be protecting, and they're actually coming across as an adult, making matters worse instead of better. So, why would you interfere at all on these adult sites, baiting people? I mean, it seems like you're asking for trouble there. Is this the best use of resources? If you want to really rescue children, that is, right? And, if you sort of meet the artificial demands of the public, apparently, by creating these criminals, trotting them out in the media, which are shills for you, and claiming that these people are going after children. It just is very dishonest, every aspect of it. Well, it's extremely problematic when you pretend to be a minor anyway, because you create a purity test for adults, a virtue test. You pimp kids, which is exactly what you're not supposed to be doing, right? You lure men to a site who would not necessarily be interested in that or committing the site. You create more danger for children if there are actually children on there. And why would you not then actually end up at some point soliciting a child yourself as a cop? We know for a fact that this has happened. I talked to somebody in prison who was solicited by a cop when he was a minor, and when the cop found out, he followed through anyway, and they had sex. So, it's really quite extraordinary and dangerous when the police play this game. It's counterproductive, it's cynical, it's entrapment through questionable inducements. And, as they say, we don't push sex, we make them make the first move, but that's clearly not true. They absolutely do. So you have those four. They don't rescue kids. They conduct proactive stings where they set the trap up. Children do hang out on the sites, but not many children. They claim they don't push sex, but they actually do push sex. And they even help you commit a crime that you say you don't want to do. When you try to go away, they come after you and try to lure you back. And even if there could be a minor on the site, why aren't they acting more proactively to protect minors on there as they claim? These are all very important questions. I'd love to hear from some police officers who could possibly explain their actions on this. But we're watching and we're going after you, and we're getting stronger as a nationwide organization. So I hope you keep that in mind. If you're a member of the general public, please subscribe to this. We do updates as much as we can. My next segments will be talking about individual cases and what the police did specifically, and I'll delve even deeper into my case, and I'll show you exactly how they did these 4 or 5 or 6 items to come after me, and how they took advantage of my natural inclination to work with kids and to protect them. And it's really incredible that they don't care the people that they destroy. That's even worse than not protecting children in some ways, because there aren't any children to worry about really on here, or very many children, but there are plenty of adults' lives, people who didn't necessarily have any predation for children. And I have to hedge it because we don't know for sure. We are forced to rely on what the police tell us, and they don't lay all their cards on the table. So it's very, very difficult to believe them when they trot these people out and they claim that they were using a computer to solicit, and they had sex abuse material, whatever that means, okay? And we don't know what that really refers to. We do know that police manipulate evidence. We do know that they are able to tunnel into our computers. We do know that they can plant evidence. We do know that they manipulate text messages. We do know that they alter text messages. These are a matter of record, and more that needs to come out, and we need forensic examiners who can go into the court and explain to the courts who want to hear, that is, exactly what police are up to, and exactly why I.C.A.C is an extremely corrupt organization. This is Norman Michaelation, I.C.A.C Unpacked. Have a good day.